Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and this is Stars Order 7. Flat racing schedule in the US here at Hilltop Park. We have some good runners. We've got a good start to the year basically. We're at the end of February. In a month, the only one that hasn't run so far, Plateau Brex, will be able to run. So that'll be kind of interesting to see what they can do. Um, Everybody else ran pretty well as a 3-year-old, apart from Parsons, who just didn't get anything done in the sham. And I think there's a few reasons for that. Possibly a little bit of length issue, just maybe prefer 7 furlong rather than a mile. So for those that don't know, a mile is 8 furlongs. So, it's kind of 50-50 when you get to this down about is it a mile, is it 7 furlongs? And the fact that breeding indicator said it, you know, based on its two parents, the sire and the dam, it should equal out at about a mile from where they like to run. So, yeah, we didn't get that one right, but that's fine. And then we basically got four maiden wins on our 2-year-olds, and then the second time of asking, changing the distance, going up to 6 furlongs and going down to 5 furlongs respectively, we won our maidens there. So everybody's won their maiden race. That's good. We need to start looking for graded opportunities and to fill out their potential bar. You can gain about 20%. I don't think any of them gained much, if anything, from their maiden wins. So there is that. And just, yeah, we need to kind of fill out all the potential we can every year. That's how we're going to get better. And with the 3-year-olds, we're not a million miles away already. We're starting to move into March. That gives us a 3-month window to get as much potential and to test the distances at a mile 2 and see if horses like Seeker Violetta will jump from the 7 furlongs they were at. If they're going to jump up here to a mile 1, mile 2, where we can run the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. Don't think we're going to have anyone up at a mile 4. And like I say, if I don't have someone there, I'm not going to run them at the Belmont unless they've won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, or at least top 3 in both, because that, you getting close to a Triple Crown or getting a Triple Crown is huge for me. So that would be the only time I'd run someone that I didn't think really had the distance, because they deserve the shot at that point. And so, that being said, we do have a bunch of races to book. I think the first thing I just need to do is just check group races. So I got 2 here. Grade 2 and a grade 3 early March. Okay. That's fine. We don't have any for just fillies. No, that's for fillies. A mess. Is that for? For stallions, fillies, and mares. I don't know why. I just thought that was for fillies and mares for a second, and like, colts aren't listed. Stallions and colts are just the male horses, and they're all grouped under stallions here. But the fillies and mares, the female horses, are split here for some reason in this list. That's kind of what I think confused me for a second. So okay. So we're gonna go for someone that's had basically just one run at 6 and has won by a decent length, like Eve's Secret. We could max out their potential. And then the best thing is we don't really need to race them once we max out that potential for the year. We'll see how much potential they're allowed to gain next year. We'll work towards that then. But I really think that's like a really solid choice. Yeah, okay. So we got Eves Morton, and Stardrom. I think it might make sense for Morton to go in the grade 3. And then Secret, who won their maiden a lot more convincingly, will go for a grade 2, because that's a higher grade of race, slightly tougher. That might be the best we can kind of do there. And then I don't mind if there's an allowance race, and there is one at 5. Like, early on, I don't mind booking one of these, and then it would either be Stardrom at 6, but I don't think that works. And then Eaveswater, one okay, didn't do amazingly, is almost filled out. Again, this could actually, with a good enough win, could fill out that bar. So I think that's definitely worth a run. So we've got ourselves 3 more races for our 2-year-olds. And then all these were running at around the same time. So we've got to try and find out when's the best time to run. We still got a week that Parsons is out. We do want to run Parsons again. I really do feel that that's probably going to be like in a month's time, because it's going to take time to recover from that injury, get back to just normal training, then get fit for a race, and be able to find a suitable race. I think that's going to take a little bit of time. So I think the first one I want to find is going to be Journeyman, because they won. And not only did they won quite convincingly in a grade 2. It's probably the horse I have the most faith in. We ran at a mile 1. Mile 1 to a mile 2 is kind of in this range. And yeah, I don't know how good this horse is, and I think we're still in that frame of mind. I don't know. I actually don't know how good these horses actually are right now. So we can go for a grade 3. I think Louisiana Derby is probably a good one, but the Florida Derby is probably better. And we got a Santa Anita, so we can throw you in to the Florida. We can throw you into Santa Anita, because you both won in a grade 2. So let's push you to a grade 1. Kind of see how they do there. They're all very similar. They're so similar, these horses. That's kind of the issue. And that also means that the furthest race we booked out is for a horse that we ran not so long ago. So that's okay. And then Violetta needs to jump. So Farges then would also be an option here. Don't really want to go to Dubai to run. Bunch of grade 3s and some grade 2s. I think maybe we try the Wood. And start of April, we should be okay. Maybe we run Parsons there. So you haven't jumped. You might like a mile 2, but I don't think there is a mile 2. You probably might like a mile 2 as well. So let's just, I think, get you 2 booked. It's been almost 2 months, so let's just continue our grade 3 track with you 2. Just get in some races and just try and get some grades, try and get some potential filled. I think that's all really I can do. We're going to be running at 3 different courses. That might be okay. That might be okay. Definitely want to make sure that we're running our jockey on Farges. And then Signs can't go there. Okay. Oh, because we haven't got it selected. Okay. Signs. Dex is a very good jockey. And then if we are going to run this in a tough race, coming off the back of a bad run and an injury, I think our apprentice jockey is pretty good. And yeah, has that £7 advantage. So instead of running at 9.6, we're actually going to be running at 8.13. And he's under that weight himself. So we're not carrying extra weight for no reason. We're going to take advantage of that. We're going to give Parsons the best possible shot at the bluegrass we can, and we've booked out our 3 horses there. So I feel, again, fairly comfortable. I do kind of want to go up to a mile for Violetta. It has been a while, so any of these grade 2s could work. And I don't think that's bad. It still gives us 2 weeks before the Beholden Mile, which, if she does well here, could work. And then we got like 3 weeks till the Ashland, which, again, I think does work. So maybe just throw in her into this works for me. Just make sure we're not doubled up on any of the dates. We resolved this conflict. Everything else is good. And then Verse Thinker. I don't know 5 or 6, and we don't really need to run, but we haven't got anybody else that runs at 5 or 6. Yeah, we've got a 5 towards the end of the month. If we wanted to be really dumb, then we got the Abdulaziz, which I just don't think I'm particularly fond of. And you got these 2 down here. No, so I think it's just going to be this 5 furlong, 110 yards. I think that makes sense to me. So that's everybody booked. The 4 horses that we're breeding have been bred. And so there is that. Pretty happy. And as breeders go, I think Zainat Morton is pretty decent. Not flawless, but pretty decent. We've had a couple that didn't work out before now, but Eves Morton, Eves Era, just that go-to sire we have, I think works out okay. 5e Modern, again, pretty solid. I quite like 5e. Never really ran well enough for me. Not being able to do anything in the Derby or the Preakness was kind of poor. The only other good ones we ran domestically were Santa Anita and the Beholder Mile, really. Like, these aren't top races. The Beholder Mile is a big step up, I would say, from these. From the Starlet. The Queen's Plate's quite a nice race in South Africa, so that's probably our best win. I say winning this, and then winning the Grade 2, Grade 3 Maiden. There's not a ton that we achieved on track when I thought there was a lot more to come. I did think there was a lot more to come. But We had Plateau Brex, and that's a pretty good one. And then Modern Eve, which is pretty much Plateau Brex, because both same sire and dams. If you are wondering the differences, you can kind of see here pretty high bars, 7 furlongs, average slow, and pretty high bars, but with more stamina. Average good laid back. So there are some differences there. And you can see that it's got some good bars, but it's missing a lot. And then with Modern Eve, it has some good bars and is missing a lot. So, like, very kind of similar horses. Plateau Brex is a little bit older and has gained their distance. Modern Eve hasn't. But there's not a ton of variation usually by breeding the same pairings. But I'm pretty happy there. And Terry, we know Terry's a very solid horse and ran quite well. 6 furlongs into 7 furlongs. 9 runs, 6 wins, couple of really nice ones. Never out of the money, always top 3. That's just what it is. Won the Commonwealth Cup, that's great. Second in the Florette at Longchamp. And then just won some domestics on top of that. So pretty solid all around. High potential, some good stats. Quite like them. Small Drum, mother of Star Drum. I'm going to start calling Stardom at some point. I'm sure of it. Again, another horse that was right in that sort of 6 to 7 furlong range and won a few grade ones. So very, very similar. And then we've got Candy Star, who comes from Ingleby Star, probably the second best game bred sire we've seen. And yeah, a very, very good looking 2-year-old. And Human Me Renee is just amazing right now. Just amazing. So, kind of excited to see what they do. One didn't work out. Robe Hallery, not our horse. Don't know anything about it. And Elko Plessis, don't know anything about it. So, yeah, they're all in full to Brasingham Hague, who is pretty good in this here, but turned out amazingly in another, and just that potential and cruising burst are two things that I'm really excited to see, as well as distance being bred into some of these shorter horses. So mile 4 to a mile 6, we're probably at a mile 2 to a mile 3 average breeding distance between 3 of these, and Terry is more likely to be a mile 1 to mile 2 average distance with their fall. So yeah, I'm pretty sort of happy, I think, with where everything is. That being said, we got a lot of races, and we're starting off with a kind of tough one. Not a super tough one, but a kind of tough one. We're going to try and find a mile on Sika Violetta. And so, let's get into the day's racing. See what she can do. She's won a grade 2. There's another couple of graded winners here at grade 2. 4 grade 3. One of which of those grade 2s is a little laid back. We got a little blue triangle here. So that means it's a little cool, little lazy, a little relaxed, but maybe too relaxed. And then a little warm, little agitated is one of the grade 3s in Salty Japonica. So they will be affected in some way, probably not in a positive way. So that's fine. Don't mind that. We are one of the higher weighted horses. We carry 3 pounds more than all the other horses because we have all won a grade 2. So there's always an allowance for horses that haven't. Well, not always, but usually there'll be allowances for age and for the grades they've won. And sometimes on handicap races especially, the rating of the horse. That being said, we're not top rated, we're just in behind. Kind of average for the field, to be fair. And form wise, Jeremy's Curtsy looks okay. Excitable, but didn't get too warm. Looks like they like to run at a mile, so that could be a very interesting run for them, the way they're running. 3 pound advantage right there in terms of what would be the average rating. So I would expect maybe to see them run quite well. Apart from that, I'm not really sure that there's any other good horses in this field. We are the favourites, and actually Jeremy I didn't even see, but they are the joint favourites with us. That makes sense on this form, 100%. You know, they had one bad run, but 2 wins and a fourth last year, then a second and 2 wins this year. We had 2 thirds and 2 firsts last year, a second this year. Kind of form-wise makes a lot of sense. So we're at Gulfstream Park here in Florida for the 1 mile Devona Dale, the Class 1 Grade 2 race for 3-year-olds upon this dirt track. And we're off. A little bit of a slow start for, I think, Salty Japonica. Yerby's Curtsy at the back as well with them, and Talented Times, Candro Livre, Great Brise, and Smarty Sadil up to Ho Piccole, and we got Playful Ortiz and Franchenet there, now closing in on Soul Firing, and at the front it is us as we come around this bend. It is 2 furlongs from home, and we are already kicking on 1.5 from home, coming now onto the home stretch. The push for the line. Cadeau Livre from deep is coming. Talented Times is coming. Under a furlong to go. They are both now starting to make headway on Sika Violetta, who is out in front. 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. The grey is gonna take it by about a length from Cadeau Livre. Talented Times, a very solid run from them. A nice push from about 1.5 furlongs out, getting up into the podium places. Not too bad at all. And I'm kind of surprised, but I think Jerobe's was pretty much last. Yeah, 12 lengths back. They were eased. That means, you know, they probably would have been maybe top 5, top 6, somewhere around there. The stablemates, Japonica and Soleil, didn't look like they were amazing, but they were right in it. Another stablemates, Playful Ortiz and Great Bees. So they kind of take up the mid-order here. But not too much surprise, really. The highest rating was the horse that came closest to us. And I would have expected Jerobe's to be more of a threat. They were hampered inside the final furlong and then eased, but still, they just didn't run as well as I thought they would. So a solid length when we were 109 rated. We are up to 117. That is a decent jump. I like that a lot. And that's our second Grade 1 win now. So, yeah, we kind of missed on distance, I think, and these two still came close. But we've actually done well there. And we're over 85% potential. I don't know how much of this we're going to be able to fill this year. And honestly, looking at it, I don't know if we even jump past a mile. This might stay at a mile. It might be able to get to 1-1, maybe a 1-2 at a push. Not really much distance adaptability. So I wouldn't expect too much there. So I don't think this is a Triple Crown horse. If it was, with that potential bar, I'd like a little more cruising burst given some of the other bars we've seen on other horses we own. But, yeah, it doesn't start particularly well, but runs quite nicely. Just don't feel that there's too much in terms of distance we can get with Sika Violetta. So very solid though. Devona Dale under the bag. Let's get that going. Love that little sail. Just looking for horses that we might have raced against that I liked. I think that's the only way I'm doing these sales now. But yeah, we're 1 for 1 for the video. We're 10 of 21, so we're still trying to pull that average up to 50% win rate this season. And we're about 10 to 15 wins away in a row from getting up to a career 50%, which is always difficult. So I feel we're getting a pretty good strike rate, and we've earned in this save, how much is that? Almost 56 million in terms of prize money, which is very solid indeed. And this season we're closing in on 750,000, and we haven't even like won a grade 1 so far. We're just winning and placing in decent races, nothing too spectacular. So there is that. And I'm absolutely fine with that. I am absolutely fine with that. We are, like I say, we're not convinced that we've got some crazily amazing horses, but we've got some good horses. And I think that's just something we need to look at. Okay. Eve's Water. Santa Anita. Little allowance race. We are a little calm. So is half the field. One is a little warm. We don't know them. We haven't seen any run, really. So, no point overthinking it. Just a little allowance race at 5 furlongs. Santa Anita allowance race. 2-year-olds on dirt. We are near camera, and we're out a little sluggish. Maybe that's us being a little too calm and laid back, but we will go to the front with Pengua Causeway, Alisco Brazine, Citron Divine, a manager takes. Graphics, Varoom, Cloth Glory, Lifetime Matt now making a move. Midas Triumph at the end. We're inside the final furlong. We're just about pushing out and in. I think Pengula Causeway could have caused a lot more trouble here. I kind of got caught up in that sort of final half of furlong. Couldn't really find room. You can see there the gap just isn't really there between us and manager takes. If they had a clear run of the line, I think maybe they had a bit to them where they could get out and push up on us. So maybe not the best run, little late out the gate, a little too relaxed, a little too calm. And we just about got up, but probably that should have been a second place or so. But with a 98 rated, I kind of want to get over 100 by the end of their 2-year-old season. So Eve's Water's definitely on that kind of trajectory right now. We have hit their full potential. I'd love to get a grade on them as well to knock them over that 100 marker at the same time would be beautiful. But 2 runs, 2 wins. Early on as a 2-year-old, in a maiden allowance especially, like you can't really overthink this. It's not indicative of a great horse or a poor horse. It's just a 2-year-old that hasn't run a good race yet. So yeah, won 9.5 grand there and a little over 17 there, and we are just under 27 grand in prize money on Eve's Water. So yeah, nothing to be ashamed of, just nothing to kind of get crazy about either. Now, County Fairgrounds. Someone we don't really run very often, so this would be, I think this is Verona. Like a little grade 3. Yeah. This is Voronova Tycoon. Top rated. The rest of the field doesn't look like much. And we don't really know much here, but Ballygaleen won their maiden quite well. And Grand River Frontier won their maiden quite well. So they might be solid horses. Fanticula may be a solid-ish horse, but didn't like that last run for a grade, so I'm not overly worried by the rest of this field. Frontier is a little warm. We are top rated, but also top weighted because we're carrying 3 extra pounds for having won a grade 3, the only graded winner in the field, and by far the best form. And again, it's such a low quality race and low quality field. We're not going to learn much, but the only thing really I think we would learn is if we did not win. So an okay start, nothing too crazy. The grey is Maori's Blanche. They're dropping back a little Avit for Funacula, and my place later account. Okay. Tokusech, Glenridding Frontier, Maori's Blanche, Jubiska Bluff, and Ballagin Walk all at the back. So my place later and Avit both here. We're going to come now inside the final 2 furlongs. It's the rush here now for the final left-hand turn, this long sweeping left. You can see at the county fairground, see the fairgrounds in the background behind the stands. We are up at the moment, the final furlong. The last half furlong on this small track is going to be an absolute blowout for everyone. Jubiska Bluff in 4th, Avit Fantacula into 3rd, Ballygeen Gulleen Walk into 2nd. I felt like everybody did their running by the final sort of 2 furlongs out, really. I don't think anybody really pushed down on that final turn. Sort of between 2 and 1.5. Felt like they were already in their positions and kind of just held them. So, yeah. We did what we were supposed to do. We won comfortably-ish. We were in front the entire way. We were briefly headed on that turnabout too. Like I say, like Ballygeen and Avit were both sort of coming strong at that point. And then we pretty quickly just moved ahead of them and just stayed ahead of them. So, solid little win for Voronova. Up to 103. Still got a ton of potential to gain, but that's, 2 grade 3s. Very, very solid, and I feel kind of comfortable with that distance. I think mile 1 just suits. There's definitely a chance we can get a mile 2, and I definitely want to test that at some point. But we're probably not going to have much of a chance before the Derby, so it's probably moot at this stage, to be fair. Like, having that race that early on makes it tough. And not only that, but I feel having the mile 2 come before the mile 1 leg of the Triple Crown is really interesting, because in a lot of other countries, most other countries, I think, their Triple Crowns aren't even that long. I think it's a mile 2, and a mile 4, in that order. So as the horse progresses through the Triple Crown races, they might gain the distance to be able to run them a little easier. So that's what makes this a little more tricky. As you go to a mile 2, then you drop down a little bit, and then you've got to climb up to a mile 4 for the finish. Yeah. Although I know in Britain, I think it's a mile 2, and then a mile 6 for the St. Leger. So it's kind of it provides its own challenges. And it's a little unrealistic sometimes to expect horses to be able to make that much of a jump. You're basically hoping from mile 3, horse that's got good adaptability so they can get up and down 3 furlongs, which is, like I say, 4 furlongs would be half a mile, so almost half a mile in either direction that they would have to run. So it's a lot to ask for. It's a lot to ask for. Luckily, America, it's pretty much a mile 1 to a mile 4. That's 3 furlongs there, which means you're only having to go 1.5 furlongs in either direction. If you're kind of like a mile 2.5, sort of a mile 2.5 distance, then you're pretty much not having a ton of adaptability either direction. So this makes each Triple Crown, I think, a little bit interesting and different, and that's really what we're looking for. Again, Eve Secret, a little bit laid back. So is Buddy, Confrank, and Parton. Okay. Again, doesn't look like a great field. Nobody's high rated. Everyone's on weight. Couple haven't run. Half the field's laid back. We're the only one that's actually won a race. We should win this, but like the unraced, there's always going to be that question mark. I think that's kind of where we're at. So I think we're at fairgrounds. Are we at fairgrounds? Maybe. But 6 furlong, class 1, grade 2 for 2-year-olds on turf. We're here now. Up and running out of the gates, nice and early. Then it's back to drop Confrank and Crystal Buddy. Weber's Brooms come up into it. Pamplon Parton at the rear of your screen, and then off screen. Catania Square, Foil, Heres, and Tapanapa Tomato. We're already distancing out. We just left the field behind. One from home. This long home stretch. Just the rest of the field are all there. They're all battling for second place. The grey of Caetana Square is going to come up and get it by about half a length from, I think, Christy Buddy. And yeah, 10 1/4 lengths when you're only running 6 furlongs. That's 3/4 of a mile. That's all we ran. And in between us and second place, you could fit, head to tail, 10 other horses comfortably. Most impressive is correct. It is correct. 101 rated and a Group 2 win. And fill potential. And that's everything I asked for of a 2-year-old. That's everything I asked for in a 2-year-old. We won our maiden heavily, impressively. Love that. Onto a grade 3. Destroyed them. Everything great. Completely filled our potential for the season. Got a graded race under our belt. And we're over 100 rated. Just, yeah. I wish all 2-year-olds were that easy. Like 2 races, done, nice. If you could have had a grade 1 to run in, I think that would have been the only way I could have got better. To have a grade 1, to have full potential, and over that 100 rating, just would have been fantastic. But yeah, we're starting to get like Group 2s and sort of Group 1s on these 2-year-olds now over the last couple of years. So yeah, we're moving in the right direction there. We're moving in the right direction. There's very limited number of races we can run. There's sort of graded races, group races. So when we are running them, to be able to win them is kind of key. Why are they running the same day? Because I never checked you. Because I never checked you. I made sure there weren't any conflicts, but then we still had horses to do. So I booked Verse, which means Verse is going to steal our main jockey. And at least Reams is going to go with our apprentice. But yeah. Okay. Didn't realize there'd be a conflict. Didn't check. That's 100% on me. So I don't like using our apprentice usually ever, but we have to. So okay, um, decent form last year, third this year. Decent form last race, not great, but decent form in general has been good. Decent form, Disruptor Sally, that's actually very good, unbeaten before their last race for quite a while. Their allowances, their conditions, their handicaps, they're not big races. It's not exactly the most competitive scene. So, okay, we're the youngest horse, we're the lowest weight because of that. We're the lowest rated, probably because of that. We're kind of untested to a certain degree. Looks like a solid field. I don't think it's an amazing field. I just don't know if there's any true quality in this field. Downhill Rocker looks like they're pretty solid, maybe. Suraness looks like they're solid. But there's only one way to find out. 5 furlong, 110 yards of the San Simeon Class 1 Grade 3, 3-year-olds and above on the turf. The favourite is going to be Downhill Rocker in the green and yellow silks. The yellow and white arms of Azura Ness might be a factor. And Descriptive Sally in the blue silks, probably not much of a factor here, as they haven't really proven themselves against any real quality. Solid out the gate from everybody, but we did not jump out well. Little undulation at the beginning of this course. And it will be Ness, it will be Hannah's Molly and Descriptive Sally as the trio leading us out. Fortune Charmer alongside ourselves now in that midpoint of the pack, and just behind us coming up on our outside is Downhill Rocker, the favourite, the black horse. That will be a factor at the end of this, I am sure. Tighter Flock and Town Arch are at the rear as we come away from the rail now. We're starting to push out. There's us and Downhill Rocker, and it's coming up now inside 2, 1.5 to go. People need to start making a move, and it doesn't look like we are inside the final furlong, and Hannah's Molly really pushing out. Asura Ness is there. We're coming with some good speed from the back, but like we're well out of it. We're well off the pace, and I don't really understand why. I really don't understand why we're so far off that. Huh. Didn't have the pace. Yeah, it looked like it. I mean, we weren't picking up before the end, but we were kind of maybe just starting to get into our stride a little bit. Maybe 6 furlongs. Maybe. It's about all I can think of there. To be perfectly honest, that's all I can think of. Okay, I feel really bad now that our main jockey was in that race, not in this one though. But we got our apprentice on Reeves Phillip. We are the form horse for sure, but there's another couple of nice horses like Souffleur Villain, who looks like they found their distance and they're running. Haven't really done much with only graded horse though. The rest doesn't seem amazing. We are top rated. We are slightly overweighted, but we're going to take a £4 advantage despite our little disadvantage for winning the grade 3. And so I feel pretty good about this being the favourite. I don't think it's a bad field. I don't think it's a great field, but the Jeff Ruby Stakes, grade 3, mile 1 for 3-year-olds. And there we are at the front. We got Blakey's Mercury just out ahead of us, and Muta just say serious back to Opinion title in fourth. Chocolate Waters is fifth. Then the trio Bells-Vereen, Monogram D'Argent, and Souffle Villain in the Red Silks against the rail. You can just see the head there of the Chianto Tinto against the rail. At the back of the picture now, just starting to edge out of frame. And then Albarana Speedfit, Gatil Whim at the rear. We're on the back stretch. We're going to speed up a little bit. Coming now into view is this long left turn. Good runs from a lot. There comes Souffle. We knew they were going to do something. We're going to kick on at 2, just gain a little bit of distance. Chocolate Water still in second. Opinion title. Souffle Villain is actually falling off the pace kind of badly. Bells-Vereen is still holding on to 5th as we're under the final furlong. Here comes Souffle Villain. They dropped off quite heavily, but they're pushing now quite hard above Opinion title. They're right up there now alongside Chocolate Waters. And they're going to get up into second. It is about a length, and I feel maybe a length and a half back from us. More than that, a couple of lengths. But they just about got up over Chocolate Waters. Very solid run. 3 lengths. I didn't quite feel it was that long, but wow. Yeah, don't think it's a bad field. Don't think it's a particularly good field. 106 rating, climbing another 7 points to 113. We have got a second grade 3 on Reims Phillip. And yeah, very solid horse. And just mile 1, mile 2 seems to be kind of where it is. And it's filled its potential. And right now, it definitely feels like a horse that could run the Triple Crown. We got some good stats, not great stats. We've kind of got the distance. We haven't been tested against really good horses. We're really not sure on the quality. But the breeding is there. Krabby's a Triple Crown winner. It would take another year like Krabby's where there were only good horses and no real great horses to fight against for that Triple Crown. But Reims, I mean, has done everything we can ask right now. So, yeah. I think at this stage as well, it's not so much that you're playing yourself into being able to run the Triple Crown. It's more that you're not disqualifying yourself from it with these runs. I think that's kind of where we're at. So we're 14 of 26, which means we're over halfway. 28 would have been the 50%. And we're 9 races back. So, yeah, like 13 of 14 wins in a row would take us to that 50% mark. So we're still quite a way off that, but we're over it right now. Slowly starting to whittle down that disadvantage that we had, losing a lot more races early on in the save, and you'll win a lot more at the end. So you will see your averages kind of going up along the way. Don't really recognize everyone there. Then our final 2-year-old right now, as I quickly want to check Parsons. Yeah, so a little jaded, but we still got 3 weeks, so they will be ready. Booking them that far out is the right way. But Yves Morton is our final runner here as a 2-year-old. Chance to have a grade. Doesn't need to jump too much to be able to get there. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. And then the only one that hasn't run twice will be Stardrom. So we'll have to find a little race for Stardrom as well. That'll be quite nice. Fauna Park. I don't know if I've raced here very often. It really doesn't feel like it. I don't really remember it. So nobody's rated. Everybody's on weight. All 2-year-olds. 3 have failed to win maidens to varying degrees. The unraced horse is a little laid back. So is one of the others. You got to fancy yourself in these races. So Fauna Park, it's a 6 furlong grade 3 for 2 euros on the dirt track. A Class 1 race led by Yves Morton. And we're out okay. Also, dermatologist Riley. Okay. Interesting. I think Terashoka Banquet got out okay. Swing Whirly's up into second right now. Snow Cape Susan, and already on the turn, we're just pushing out. We're not even on the home stretch. Down to the final furlong. Here now is the home stretch. It looks like Snow Cape Susan coming up from deep, starting to make some headway on Swing Worldy, gonna take second place quite comfortably. But we are just miles ahead, untested. Whether it's a good group or not doesn't really matter. 6 3/4 is kind of telling. That is another grade on a 2-year-old. Hit the 100 rating. We still have a little bit of potential left to fill, but we're getting so much closer. I'm finding it a little bit easier every single generation to be able to, get that graded race, get that 100 rating, and fill that potential bar for our 2-year-old. So I'm really enjoying that progression. I think that's key. That is key to keep an eye on. But yeah, we got some good runs, and yeah, we'll see where we get up. We'll see where we get up, but it's really testing time. A month or so out from the Kentucky Derby. And we're just testing distances, we're just testing qualities. You seem to have distance, you seem to have distance, you seem to have distance. Those are big tests right there. You haven't jumped, you seem to have distance. You're a sprinter, you haven't jumped. And I like the both of you at a mile 1. Don't know about a mile 2, but I think right now there's like 5 that I could easily run in the Triple Crown. I really don't know which way I want to go with that. I just don't think anyone's differentiated themselves at all. And everyone has such similar attributes and similar. They're all at about the right distance. They all have good speed, acceleration, and start. And what they miss there, they make up for. And one of the other ones usually. And if not, they'll make up in their other stats. And some have good cruising bursts, some have better confidence, some have good extra speed. But like they're all very, very similar. And that makes it so much tougher for me to actually pick one horse to go for in these Triple Crown races. It really, really does. Especially when so many are running really well at a mile 1 and haven't really been tested at a mile 2. It's like, who do we run in the Derby? Preakness, I could easily run 4 and feel comfortable that like one of them has a real good shot at winning. But it could be any one of those 4. Derby, I don't know. We're untested at just that little increase in distance, so don't really know yet, and that's a little disconcerting. It's a couple of grade 2 winners that are 3 pounds overweight for this race. We got 3 grade 3s. We are one of them. Everyone else is on weight. Top rating isn't miles away. We're kind of mid to low mid rating for this race. But we're unbeaten. We are unbeaten. 2 grade 3s and a maiden. We've won at 5 furlongs, we've won at 6 furlongs, and we've won at 7. We've won on a standard course, on a good course, and at soft course. We've also won while being very cool, calm, and collected, as well as just a fairly normal run. But this is a step up again. You know, this is not even going up to a mile. We're jumping all the way to a mile one and a little bit beyond a mile one. Yeah, like a good run here could see us fill this potential bar for sure. And that would be just another feather in the cap and another just like, okay, Preakness, maybe Kentucky Derby. Brex could do it. So it's all really, really, really strange right now. I don't know. I hate not kind of having a plan 6 weeks to a month out. But we're here at the Louisiana Derby, Class 1 Grade 2 for 3 rows on dirt, over a mile, 1 furlong, and 110 yards. Your favourite will be Starline Crest, who are in great form. We're in great form. Westwire Opal also in great form. We will get this race underway and we're on the rail. Not a bad start, not a great one either. We're going to go to the chasing pack alongside Bukuramanga, Chariot, and Zakon Car. We got Westwire Opal leading out at the front. Then back to Playful Ortiz in the yellow silks. Amy's wife on the outside. Desert Moor Banker on the inside, and in between then is Starring Crest, who we do think is probably a pretty decent horse too. Little over a mile away from home now. Sweeping left turn coming. We get up into position. Here come a few others. And there will be a challenge from the rear. You bet your bottom dollar there will be challenges from the rear. Down to the final two now as we're on the home stretch. We are powering through up into second place, trying to claw back West Wire Opal. Because they got Carl, Playful Ortiz, all there. It looks like we're getting up, we're pushing out. There really isn't a challenge from the rear. Just a very easy, solid win. The rest of the field kind of in amongst itself. And I felt really comfortable. I think we started okay, not great. Then we got up into the chasing pack. We didn't let ourselves get blocked off. We moved up just before the turn and on the turn. Got into our position. And the moment we hit the home stretch, we just kind of pushed past Westwire Opal and got up into first. And ended up almost 4 lengths clear by the end. So, yeah, not a great finish. Ran it quite well. But then really kind of pushed at the end and did really, really well at the end. 116 rate, that's a jump of 9 points. That is very, very nice. 2 grade 3s are now joined by this grade 2 victory. And we damn near fill out that potential. And yeah, mile 110, that's only 110 yards away from being a mile 2. And you've also now got to say that Plateau Brex, despite that injury, despite a few early worries, has not excluded themselves from the Kentucky Derby. And we're winning these grade 2 qualifiers, prep races for the Kentucky Derby. We're winning them quite well, and ooh, I might actually want to go for you two. I always like to see grade 1 brood mares. It's gonna go at like 160, yeah. So flaunting, 9-year-old has won 7 out of 16 races. One of them a grade 1 at 124 rating. And this one, not quite as much, which I kind of would have thought would have gone for more, but an 11-year-old, maybe that's going to play into it, but a couple of grade 1 wins. So not bad, really raced well towards the start of the year. And then, I guess, fell off. So that would be their, 5-year-old season, I think. So, okay. Not terrible. Not amazing, but not terrible. Not good enough, though. And then Besito is actually more excited about a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3. So it's the American Oaks, the Santa Anita Oaks, and the Here Comes the Bride. A mile, and a mile 2. Breeding looks like a mile 1. I hate the fact that this is all kind of jacked up, but it is. Solid bars, kind of mile 1, yeah, mile 2, kind of what you'd expect. And yeah, again, good, not great. Looks like a bit of jumping ability here as well. I'm actually probably going to put that in the jumping save as a breeder, because why not? It's got those jumping bars. So yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing to do. Just not really worth doing anything with in this save. But that is fine. Journeyman left. Oh, I really want to run well here. I really want to run well here. The Florida Derby is going to be our first real proper test, grade 1. And this horse has run really, really well. It's going to be up against, this is the first good field that we've run against as well. Starring Crest, we know. Victoria's Minor, we know. Zikon Carl, we know. And then there's just a bunch of grade 1s on top of that, where everybody's on weight. We're pretty much going to be low rated, but I feel like we're the form horse and we haven't really been tested here. Yeah, muddy track. Things not set up right, didn't win a maiden. But since then, won the maiden by 5.5. Won a grade 3 up at a mile at 2.25. Won it again 3.5. Moved up to a mile 1 in a grade 2 and won that by 3.75. This is the big test. This is the big test for Journeyman left. And again, if we can win this, I think there's almost no, you get to the stage where you are playing yourself into the Kentucky Derby. So a win here, and I think Journeyman runs the Derby. It's in the rain, though. The Florida Derby, 1 mile 1, class 1, grade 1, 3-year-olds on dirt. Such a good field. We get off to a decent start here, camera size. Looks like Zikon Carl and Magdalia rescue towards the front. We're going to drop off towards the back. I don't love that. Starring Song and Fresh Printer up into the mix early. Back to Pinewood, Altuara, and Starring Crest. Alongside Victoria's Minor, Cecile, Annabelle, and ourselves are right at the rear. 3 from home. We look to be trying to make our mind where we're going to run. We've probably done too much too late. We're going to go to the inside. We're going to get blocked off, even though we could run and we could get up into it. I don't think we would have had the pace to really do it, but I think we would have had a much better run than we did. I gotta be honest with you, the fact that we ran into a cul-de-sac and the fact that we went outside, inside, outside, inside, about 2.5 to 2 from home. Honestly, with all that, there's a solid chance we actually cost ourselves that grade 1 there. I do not feel that is a proper reflection of that horse in any way, shape, or form. And it does just leave you with so many questions. So many questions. Okay. 3 horses, 3 races, 3 decent tests. 3 decent tests. First up, it's going to be Blackstone Farages. Okay. Blackstone Farges. 1 mile, 1 furlong, Wood Memorial. Bit of quality about this race. Danadana Panzer looks like they're really solid horse, to be fair. Yeah. We're the two top weighted. We'll be two of the top favourites with Chocolate Waters, who we know. We've seen them run. We know they're good, but not great. Should be beatable. We're here now at the Wood Memorial Grade 2 3-year-olds for dirt track racing over 1 mile. And it's a solid start by pretty much the whole field. A decent sized field. I think 12 runners in this. We're going to go towards the back a little bit. I don't love that, but at least we're not tight against the rail. Shamal Bard out in front with it. Ebaza Muttley, Chocolate Waters, Uvari Feature, Champagne, Vieto to Useful Shot, the Dana Panzer, She's Atlas, Ourselves, Dreams, Impaler is there, Champagne Viento, Useful Shot falling back, Spells by the Diva, and Crying Duckling at the rear. The final furlong of the race, Shamal Bard's got such a big distance over the rest of the horses. Chocolate Waters and Ourselves are coming up strong. The Dana Panzer very much as well. We can't quite get there. Chocolate Waters runs well. I think we were a little too far back to do really anything. And I don't really feel that we pushed into like 0.5 of a furlong. It does say stayed on. I do feel 1 mile 2. I do feel 1 mile 2. Such an interesting one. It really is such an interesting one. Okay, we're kind of going to wipe that off. Alumtarash Book is going to be the top-rated Grade 1 winning, top-weighted form horse in this field. That is the danger. Second car is here. Westwire Opal. We know a few of these, but they're not expected to be dangerous. So look out for the black and gold silks of Al Mushtarak Book, the Grade 1 winner. So we head to Keeneland with Parsons for the 1 mile 1 furlong Bluegrass Class 1 Grade 2 race for 3-year-olds upon the dirt. Zakon Khan will be the favourite, but Al Mushtarak is the class. Parsons Encounter. It's kind of our little wild card right here. Not a bad start, and Zakon Khan starting off okay. Al Mushtarak alongside us right there. Carl goes towards the back, up to Grey Breeze, Land, Turbot, fantastic, playful Ortiz. Then it is Al Mushtarak and Joseph Clover. We got Melrose Hand and Ourselves coming up now just behind Westwire Opal, who again is out to the front, 2 from home. Onto the home stretch, the final 1.5. Here comes Melrose Hand up on the inside. On the outside, Joseph Clover is going for it. And Parsons just does not seem to have any finish whatsoever, getting stripped out by the entire field, getting absolutely ruined. Joseph Clover's going to come up, take the win. Al Mushtarak just did absolutely nothing in that race. That's a big surprise. We're a big surprise. Dwelt, hampered, eased, I get it. But boy, what a bad run that was. I was really hoping we could get a little bit of distance. I was really hoping we could get this. It didn't look like we could run a mile very comfortably. We definitely can't get to 1 mile 1. But even without that, I don't see us winning that race if it's over a mile. Oh, not a good horse, not a good run. Not what we want to see. And the final race we're running, the 1 mile 1 furlong Santa Anita Derby. A grade one, a tough field again. Although only 2 horses have won a race this season, apart from us. Precedence Pekin has won 4 races ago as a grade 3. An optimistic Poitlin is they ran 3 races ago and won, but are grade 2. We're low rated pretty much, where everyone's on weight. One laid back, some pretty decent spread of grades across the board. You kind of gotta feel like we can do it, but we don't seem to be able to prove ourselves a lot of the time when it comes to the big races. But it's, again, a solid start by most of the field, including ourselves. We are going to go back towards the rear of field, which I don't love. But Knit of a Shrew, Precedence Pecan, Flavius Pastures, and Medaglia Rescue, Dusky Spectre, all there. Well alongside Tight Winter, you got Desert Mole Banker up in the mix. We're going to try and go around the inside 2 from home. We found a little gap to go through. I don't know if anyone's going to come from the back, but it's Tight Winter on ourselves, just chasing down Precedent Pecan. Here comes Medaglia Rescue. Here comes a few from the back as well. Final half a furlong. Storming Wanted is storming clear. Is storming easy. Salutes the crowd. Celebrates before the line at the Santa Anita Derby. It is finally a grade 1 win in one of these prep races. Oh, that was what I needed it to be. Don't feel that's the best field in the world, but I also low-key don't care. We start good. We got good speed. We get up to speed fairly well. We got that distance that we need to be a mile 1, mile 2 range. We didn't win this because we weren't on our correct distance. A little bit too laid back. A little bit too soft a track. Still weren't a million miles away. Get on our distance. Don't run really well, but over 5 furlongs, a win is a win. The mile, grade 3, by a length. Mile 1, grade 2. Again, we just get up. It's some solid horses. We know they're solid horses. We know they're not great horses, and we will be facing better. But we do know 3 of these, and we have beaten them. And then the Derby, our biggest win, our most comfortable run, our most impressive performance. And that leads me into the Derby thinking Storming Wanted has to run. Has to run the Derby. Sired by Crabbies. Foaled by Galette. I think I have one. But do I have any others? Plateau Brex, maybe. I would feel more comfortable running the Preakness than the Derby. But we have not tested, and we don't really have a ton of time to test. But Brex, maybe. Voronova, I don't feel looks amazing right now. But maybe Reams Phillip, definitely maybe could easily be in that race. I feel Violetta doesn't have distance. Parsons doesn't have distance. Tried to engineer a situation where he showed me something that I wasn't expecting, didn't get it. Really wanted to run him in the Derby. If I'm to be honest with you, that was the one I was trying to push there. Not going to work out. Blackstone Farges, like really, really good. So close in a couple of ways. Feels like I could easily run. And Journeyman, I don't really feel fifth is what we should have seen from that one. If we run it again, we probably do better. So let me know, comment section down below. A little bit of a long one. We've got a lot of horses. We're not eliminating them from consideration as early as we have done in years past. We haven't really had any stinkers to fully drop off. Parsons is the worst, and first race was odd, second race was booking, so I've got to give him at least one good run. But I think at this point we're kind of like, we know who's got the distance and who doesn't. If you can run a mile 1, mile 2, then you're kind of in consideration, and the other 3 aren't. And at the same time, I think 1 or 2 horses have really shown something. They've really shown something. Like I say, Brex, Phillip, and Storm in my trio that I really, really like, and I'm going to be heavily considering. So, hey, who knows? I don't know. We're going to find out together. But thank you very much for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Let me know, comment section below, who would you run for the Triple Crown races? Is there anyone you like, don't like? Who do you think is going to be good in one way or another? And if there are any 2-year-olds that have like piqued your interest early, do say about those as well, because I think that's a very even class as well, but probably got a little bit more about them than our 3-year-olds in general. But there are a couple of 3-year-olds, again, I think look like they could be something quite nice. So I think my question is, how good really are we? So comment section down below, let me know. As always, appreciate the feedback, the comments, the support. Like and subscribe really helps out the channel a ton. And I'll be back here for more racing very soon, including the Kentucky Derby. I think we'll be able to get there by the next video. So there aren't that many prep races we can do. So we're going to get there pretty quickly, and we're going to have to make our mind up. So it's going to be what it's going to be. Until next time, I'll see you soon. I wish you all the luck of the bluegrass.